Imagine looking up, well, metaphorically speaking, at a star over 1,400 light years away, and you watch it. Blink. Unpredictably. Like something huge is blocking it, but it's definitely not a planet. Today, we're diving into this really profound cosmic riddle, KIC 8462852. Probably know it better as Tabby Star, or maybe even the WTF Star.
Right, the star that just made astronomers go, what is that? And it's officially an F-type main sequence star. So slightly bigger, slightly hotter than our sun. Pretty standard, really.
Yeah, like a stellar cousin, not some weird exotic object.
Exactly, which makes its behavior just baffling. The light dims, Kepler saw it, but it doesn't dim a little bit or, periodically like a planet crossing.
Yep.
No, it dims erratically, massively for these weird lengths of time, sometimes by like 22%. It's like someone's playing with a cosmic dimmer switch completely at random.
It just totally defies what you would expect. And this bizarre behavior, well, it immediately sparked these two completely different stories, didn't it?
Absolutely. On one hand, is this just a quirky cosmic anomaly, something natural, maybe something we've just never seen before?
Or, the other hand, is it actual proof of a colossal alien megastructure? Some huge engineering project harvesting the star's energy?
And the follow-up question some people ask, is the scientific debunking actually a deliberate cover-up?
That's the huge puzzle we want to unpack today. We'll get into the details of the discovery, the really strange light curve, and, that initial buzz in the scientific community.
And then we'll look at the, let's say, more speculative side. The conspiracy claims, the supposed evidence for aliens, and weigh that against the scientific counter-arguments. And maybe think about why this idea, this alien megastructure, grabs our imagination so strongly. All right, let's get into it.
Sounds good.
So the story really kicks off in 2015. There's this paper, Where's the Flux?, led by astronomer Tabitha Boyajian, hence Tabby's Star.
Right. She gets the naming rights, essentially. Pretty much. And the data, the crucial data, it came from NASA's Kepler Space Telescope, which, as you probably know, was built to find exoplanets by looking for these tiny, regular dips in starlight.
But here's the twist, the really interesting human part. The first flag, hang on a second, didn't come from Kepler's automated software.
Which was looking for those regular dips.
Exactly. It came from citizen scientists, people taking part in the Planet Hunters project, just looking through the data visually.
Wow. So actual people spotted what the algorithms missed.
Yeah. They saw something the machines weren't programmed to find. It was literally someone saying, wait, what on earth is that pattern?
And what they saw was, well, unlike anything seen before, the dimming was totally irregular, aperiodic. Forget predictable planet transits.
Yeah, these dips were happening at completely random times, and they were deep, really deep.
How deep are we talking?
We're talking 15%, sometimes up to 22% reduction in light. Now put that in perspective. Jupiter, our biggest planet, crossing our sun, would cause maybe a 1% dip.
So whatever was blocking Tabby Star had to be absolutely enormous, much bigger than a planet.
Orders in magnitude bigger. And it wasn't just the size. The shape of the light curve, how the light dipped and came back, it was asymmetric. Not the smooth U shape you get from a sphere.
Right, like something with a complex shape was passing in front.
Could be. And the duration. Some of these dimming events lasted for days, even weeks. Planets transit in hours.
Days or weeks, that's a long time.
It is. And then there's this other slightly debated finding from old photographic plates. Some studies suggested the star might have gradually dimmed by about 20% over the last century.
A century-long dimming for a stable F-type star.
If true, it's unprecedented. F-type stars are supposed to be pretty steady.
Okay, so faced with all this weirdness, irregular dips, huge depth, weird shape, long duration, maybe long-term dimming, what did astronomers first think? What were the natural ideas?
Well, the first big idea, the one that got the most traction initially, was comets. A massive swarm of comets. Maybe something disrupted them, sent them plunging towards the star.
Okay, comets. Makes sense. They're dusty, irregular.
But there was a problem, a big one. If you have that much dust and ice from billions, maybe trillions of comets, enough to block 20% of the star's light.
It should get hot, right? Absorb starlight and glow in the infrared.
Exactly. It should produce a detectable excess of infrared radiation. But the early observations, they didn't see it. Not the amount they expected anyway.
So the comet idea had a major hurdle right out of the gate.
It did. Other ideas were floated too, of course. Maybe a field of planetary debris from a collision, or maybe the star itself was acting up in some unknown way, intrinsic variability, or just random clouds of interstellar dust drifting between us and the star.
But none of these really nailed all the weird aspects perfectly, did they? Especially that lack of expected infrared heat.
No, none of them provided a single, elegant explanation that ticked all the boxes. And that unresolved mystery, that's what really launched Tabby's star into the public eye and opened the door for, well, more extraordinary explanations.
Which leads us straight into the big one. The theory that captured everyone's imagination. The alien megastructure.
Right. The idea that this isn't natural at all, that the dimming is caused by something huge, something artificial, built by an incredibly advanced alien civilization.
And the argument from proponents is basically, look, the dimming is just too weird, too deep, too irregular, too asymmetric for any known natural cause.
Yeah, they'd say even the comet swarm idea, while natural, requires such an unbelievable number of comets that it starts to sound almost as unlikely as aliens. It feels like a stretch.
So if it's not natural, what kind of structure are we talking about? This is where the Dyson swarm comes in.
Exactly. Freeman Dyson's idea. He theorized that a sufficiently advanced civilization, what we call a Type 2 civilization, on the Kardashev scale.
Tech 2 being able to harness the entire energy output of their star, right? Way beyond us.
Way beyond us. Dyson suggested they might build a structure, or more likely a swarming structures, around their star to capture as much energy as possible. Not necessarily a solid sphere that has stability problems.
More like a cloud of orbiting collectors.
Precisely. Billions, maybe trillions of individual solar collectors, habitats, other bits and pieces, all orbiting the star. And that kind of setup
Would block the starlight irregularly, depending on how the swarm is arranged, how dense it is in different places.
Exactly. The irregular arrangement causes erratic dips. The sheer number and size of collectors causes deep dips. Different shapes and sizes of collectors cause asymmetric dips. It actually explains the observed light curve quite well conceptually.
Okay, so who would build this? A Type 2 civilization, as you said, working on an almost unimaginable scale. Why?
Energy is the obvious answer, capturing stellar energy. But maybe also creating living space, massive habitats, or terraforming projects.
Could it be communication? Like the construction itself is a sign, a beacon.
Some people propose that, yeah. Or maybe it's just long-term survival planning for their species. And the why now question, why are we seeing it happen now?
Maybe construction is ongoing, or they're doing repairs.
Or, in some versions of the theory, maybe it is deliberate, a subtle hello across the light years, or a test to see if younger civilizations like ours are paying attention.
Wow. It really reframes the whole thing, doesn't it? From a weird star to potentially evidence of cosmic neighbors operating on a godlike scale.
It's a narrative that taps right into our deepest hopes and maybe fears about our place in the universe.
And that powerful narrative leads directly into the next layer, the idea of a cover-up. That maybe someone already knows this is aliens, and they're hiding it.
Yeah, this is where it moves from astrophysics to, well, conspiracy theory. The central claim is that powerful groups, governments, scientific bodies know the truth about the megastructure and are actively suppressing it.
Who are the alleged suppressors?
Usually it's governments at the top of the list, the US, maybe other world powers. The motive, preventing panic, keeping potential alien tech for themselves, maintaining control. The usual suspects in these kinds of theories.
And what about the scientific community? NASA, SETI, academic?
They're often accused of being complicit, either actively helping the cover-up by pushing mundane explanations like dust, or being pressured, maybe their funding depends on avoiding fringe topics, or simply being too dogmatic, unwilling to accept something so paradigm-shifting.
So either in on it, pressured, or just stuck in their ways?
Pretty much. And some versions even suggest the aliens themselves might be subtly manipulating things to keep us in the dark, maybe thinking we're not ready.
Why hide it, though? What are the supposed motives?
Well, the fear of societal collapse is a big one. Imagine the impact on religions, economies, political power structures if suddenly we knew super advanced aliens were out there.
It would change everything.
Everything. Then there's fear of the aliens themselves. Are they friendly? Hostile?
Yeah.
Resource competition? And maybe just avoiding accountability. Governments don't want to answer questions like, why haven't you told us, or can you protect us?
And how would they suppress it, according to the theory?
Through disinformation, ridicule, painting proponents as cranks, controlling research funding, steering it away from SETI, or studies of Tabby's star focused on artificial causes, maybe selectively releasing data. and, in some darker versions, silencing whistleblowers.
It paints a picture of a deliberate effort to obscure a potentially monumental truth, doesn't it? Keeping humanity unaware of something happening just 1,400 light years away.
That's the cull assertion of the cover-up angle, yes.
Okay, so let's step back into the shoes of someone who does believe it's an alien megastructure. What specific things do they point to as their strongest evidence?
Well, number one is still the light curve itself, the sheer weirdness. They argue that when natural explanations seem inadequate or require really contrived scenarios, the artificial explanation becomes, well, less extraordinary by comparison. It's that extraordinary evidence requires extraordinary explanations line.
And the infrared issue we mentioned, the initial lack of it.
Exactly. That was a big point early on. If it's a huge dust cloud, where's the heat? Proponents argued maybe an advanced, efficient megastructure wouldn't radiate waste heat in a way we'd easily detect. It might be designed to minimize that.
Okay, what else?
The long-term dimming idea, that century-long fading from old photoplates. While it's debated scientifically, proponents see it as evidence of gradual, ongoing construction over decades, something natural phenomena are less likely to do in that steady way.
What about later observations? Science eventually did find evidence consistent with dust, like the way different colors of light were blocked. How do proponents handle that?
That wavelength-dependent dimming, more blocking of blue light than red, is strong evidence for fine dust. Proponents sometimes reinterpret this. Maybe it's a red herring, or maybe the alien structure has components that happen to mimic dust signatures, or maybe the dust is unrelated to the main dimming events caused by larger structures.
And the SETI searches, the ones that found no clear artificial radio signals or lasers.
That's often reframed too. Possibility one, they found something, but it's classified, hidden.
The cover-up again.
Right. Possibility two, we're looking for the wrong thing. The aliens are too advanced, using communication methods we can't detect, like neutrinos or gravity waves, or tightly focused beams not aimed at us.
Or maybe the silence is the message.
That's another interpretation, yeah. Given how weird the star is, the lack of an obvious signal could be intentional. And then there's the initial scientific excitement itself.
People forget that respectable astronomers like Jason Wright did initially publish papers seriously considering the alien hypothesis.
Exactly. And the subsequent shift away from that idea by the mainstream community is seen by proponents as suspicious. Was it genuine scientific progress based on new data? Or was it pressure to conform to dismiss the extraordinary possibility?
Plus, the star itself is an older, mature F-type star, not like young stars where we often see dusty disks and weird dimming from planet formation.
Right. Its maturity makes large, natural dust clouds less expected, strengthening the artificial argument for some. It's a collection of anomalies that, when viewed through a certain lens, paints a compelling, albeit speculative, picture.
Okay, so that's the case for the megastructure, or at least the arguments used. Now let's shift back to the mainstream scientific perspective. How did the consensus move so strongly towards natural explanations, primarily dust?
It really came down to subsequent, more detailed observations. The initial data was intriguing, but limited. Later studies using telescopes like Spitzer and Swift, which are sensitive to different wavelengths of light, were crucial.
And they found that wavelength difference, more blue light block than red.
Yes. That discovery was key. As you said, it's a classic signature of fine dust particles smaller than the wavelength of red light. Larger, opaque objects like huge alien solar panels would block all colors of light equally. Dust doesn't.
So that pointed away from big solid structures and towards, well, dust.
Pretty strongly, yes. And the infrared issue. While still no huge excess was found, the models evolved. Fine dust, the kind that preferentially blocks blue light, also gets blown away relatively quickly by the star's radiation pressure.
So it doesn't stick around long enough to build up and get really hot and radiate strongly in the infrared.
That's the idea. It's consistent with fine dust being replenished somehow, rather than a massive permanent hot cloud. So the lack of strong IR isn't necessarily a contradiction anymore if it's fine, transient dust.
Okay, so if it is dust, where's it coming from? You mentioned comets earlier, but also other ideas.
Right, the focus shifted to plausible dust sources. Maybe it is a massive comet that recently fragmented, or perhaps an exomoon got too close to the star, or a large planet and was torn apart by tides.
Like Shoemaker-Levy 9 hitting Jupiter but spreading out around the star?
Sort of, yeah. Tidal disruption. Or maybe collisions between asteroids or planetesimals in that system generated a big dust cloud. These are all known astrophysical processes, even if the scale here is unusual.
Which brings us to Occam's razor, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The principle of choosing the simplest explanation that fits the data. While the dust theories might still have some kinks to work out, they rely on known physics and observed phenomena, dust, comets, gravity, collisions.
Whereas the alien megastructure hypothesis requires invoking something entirely new and unproven, technologically advanced extraterrestrial life building star-sized structures.
Exactly. Science tends to favor explanations based on what we know, unless the evidence becomes truly overwhelming for something completely new. And here, the dust explanation, especially with the wavelength data, became a much better fit based on known science.
And what about SETI's role in this? The proponents see the null results as suspicious, but the scientific view?
From the scientific perspective, SETI did exactly what it should do. They saw a potential anomaly, even one that might have an exotic explanation. They pointed their telescopes, they listened, and they publicly reported what they found, which was nothing definitive.
Openly, no secrecy.
Right. That's seen as the scientific process working correctly. You test hypotheses, even the exciting ones, and you report the results transparently. It wasn't a cover-up, it was just science.
So ultimately, despite all the observations across different wavelengths, radio, optical, infrared, there's just no direct, unambiguous evidence of artificiality. No structured signals, no lasers, no weird heat signatures that scream technology.
Not yet. Nothing that can't be explained more simply by natural, if unusual, phenomena.
And the shift away from the alien idea wasn't a retreat, but just following where the new data led.
Precisely. Science evolves. New data came in the wavelength-dependent dimming, and it provided stronger support for a natural explanation. So the models were updated. That's not conspiracy. That's just how scientific understanding progresses. It's a self-correcting process, driven by evidence.
So given that the scientific evidence now points quite strongly towards dust, even if the exact source is debated, why does the alien megastructure idea persist so strongly in the public imagination?
Well, honestly, because it's just a fantastic story. It's way more exciting, more profound than it's probably dust.
It taps into that deep human desire for contact, for knowing we're not alone.
Absolutely. And the initial mystery was real. Astronomers were genuinely stumped for a while. That created a kind of vacuum, and the alien hypothesis filled it perfectly and dramatically. It offered an immediate, albeit extraordinary, answer.
There's also that element of distrust, isn't there? Skepticism towards government, towards established science.
Definitely. For people already inclined to distrust authority, the idea that they would hide evidence of aliens seems plausible. So any scientific shift towards a mundane explanation can look suspicious, like part of the cover-up.
And for some, the light curve itself is still the extraordinary evidence. The lack of a perfect 100% settled natural explanation means the alien door isn't completely closed in their minds.
Right. If there are still unanswered questions about the dust, then the alien idea remains on the table for them. And then there's just the sheer power of what if.
The implications are just so huge.
Immense. Thinking about what a Dyson swarm would mean for our understanding of life in the universe. It's such a powerful thought that it's hard to let go of, even if the evidence points elsewhere.
And the media hype certainly played a role. Tabby's star was everywhere for a while. That Kickstarter campaign to fund more observations got huge public support.
Yeah, that public engagement created a kind of feedback loop. People were invested, literally, in the mystery. Became part of popular culture, making it harder to just fade away.
And maybe fundamentally, it connects to our search for meaning. The idea that there's intelligent life out there doing incredible things makes the cosmos feel a bit less empty, perhaps.
I think that's a huge part of it. Boyajian's star offered this tantalizing glimpse, this flicker of possibility that something truly grand and intelligent exists beyond Earth. And that's a very powerful, very human thing to hope for.
So we've taken quite a journey today through the strange, flickering light of Boyajian's star, from that initial baffling mystery
to the really compelling, almost science fiction narrative of alien megastructures.
And back to the methodical, evidence-based scientific explanations that now strongly favor cosmic dust, albeit of an unusual sort.
It really throws into sharp relief that tension, doesn't it? Between the incredible allure of the unknown, especially alien life, and the patient, rigorous process of science, which often leads to less spectacular but more evidence-based conclusions.
So next time you look up at the night sky, or just think about those distant stars, maybe remember Boyajian's star. Is it just a fascinating cosmic quirk, a veil of dust playing tricks with light?
Or is there still a lingering question, a possibility, however remote, of something more? A silent testament to alien engineers, hidden in the data, veiled by dust, or perhaps by those who some believe don't want us to know.
The scientific answer, for now, seems to lean towards nature's own strangeness, but that captivating what if, sparked by Tabby's star, definitely keeps echoing, reminding us just how much we still don't know about the universe out there.
Absolutely. It reminds us that the cosmos is likely full of wonders, maybe even stranger than alien megastructures still waiting to be found. The search continues.